Right. And again, welcome. We are from HEAT Core, which stands for Health Education and Training Core. Our focus is on educating students and also other team members from the Hopkins family on educating youth here, and not only in Baltimore, but across the world virtually. I, again, am Thomasina Watts. I'm the program manager for JHU Source, and I am joined today by our two of our lovely trainers and experts, both of whom are with Johns Hopkins. And please feel free to hop in and introduce yourself.
Sure. My name's Catherine Ling. I am an associate professor at the School of Nursing. I am a family nurse practitioner, and I both teach in the School of Nursing, and I'm also the chief nursing officer for our Wald and Compass centers. So thank you all for coming today. Look forward to the discussion.
Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie Exum. I use the pronouns she, her, hers. I am an assistant professor in the Department of Environmental Health and Engineering here at the School of Public Health. And I'm going to talk to you today about water and health and our water and health curriculum. My research focuses on safe and clean drinking water using community engaged approaches in vulnerable populations across the United States and also internationally. And I'm so excited for what we're going to talk about here today, because this is going to be about our Baltimore City community and educating our youth here in the city. So super excited for this conversation. And Thomasina, thanks for having me.
So happy that both of you were able to join us. They're both very important members of our team. And again, we'll be sharing a lot of valuable information today. Let's talk a little bit about our learning objectives. So we're hoping that by the end of the session today, you'll be able to describe the core components of the HEAT Core education model, as well as name necessary resources and supports for large-scale initiatives. And we'll also be able to discuss the impacts of the program on trained volunteers. So at the end, we're going to discuss some of the rave reviews we've gotten for the program, and hopefully give you time to ask questions about the curriculum specifically, or ask about the program itself. And then maybe you'll be convinced to join us for this upcoming school year. So just a little bit of a history about HEAT Core. HEAT Core began with the Medicine for Greater Good, which was teaching the Lung Ambassador program, and then it evolved into the program that we know today. So it was started with COVID-19, specifically March 2020, educating people about, or students particularly, about COVID and how we can stay safe during the pandemic. There has evolved incredibly since then to teach a wide variety of topics. So we already have some existing community campus partnerships. Specifically, we have developed the program and curriculum, as well as piloted sessions that help the heighten awareness of the science, as well as the health needs for the local organizations groups that we're working with. And as it progressed, as we move forward, some of the other topics have included long COVID, mental health and wellness, as well as e-cigarettes and vaping curriculums, which were kind of the focus last year. And then this kind of information is designed to reach students in grades K through 12. Was found to be relevant even after the COVID-19 pandemic was considered over. And so we're hoping to continue expanding and reaching more people. And then, so HEAT Core, as I mentioned, uses the expertise and the partnerships from a wide variety of different Hopkins institutions. So we have insight from educators, clinicians, researchers, and they've helped us to develop this curriculum for the K through 12 youth. But primarily the focus, again, is on science, public health, empowering the youth, and mental health as well. And the infrastructure for the volunteers yourself, so potentially you, would include training, recruitment, registration for it, and then we'd also communicate through Hopkins Engage. We're from Source. So Source is the Community Engagement and Service Learning Center here at Hopkins. We're going to be your primary contact for this moving forward, but the education itself was developed from a wide variety of people who are experts in their field and contribute to the development of this very comprehensive curriculum. Our focus is also on program evaluation and feedback. So we do an evaluation of the materials and the content, the instructors, and then we also get feedback from you as well. It becomes really critical to determining how effective infectious that Heat Core team and program is. And we also try to make sure that our strategy moving forward actually serves the communities in which we work most effectively. So we always try to make sure that what we are teaching is for the good of the communities in which we're working. With that being said, we're going to talk a little bit further about the Heat Core current topics, and we're going to start with water and health. Natalie, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Thomasina. Yes. So here I am to talk about water and health. And this is a new curriculum actually that we have developed out of a need that we have seen in our city here in Baltimore. Before I get into the description of the curriculum, just to give you a little bit of background, there is a lot of push right now nationally with federal funds from different legislation that's been passed in the bipartisan infrastructure law to find and replace all lead pipes in the United States in the next 10 years. This is an extremely ambitious agenda that has been put out by the EPA under the Biden and Harris administration. And it's an ambitious plan that's also have a lot of dollars that have been put behind it. So here in Baltimore City, the water utility for the city has $43 million to find and replace all of the lead pipes in our city. And this is a really big lift for the city because right now they're still in the process of trying to find where they are. Now, why this is such a great topic for the Heat Core is because this is an all hands on deck problem for the city right now. The city is asking, I'm jumping right into it. I'm not even following the description on the slides here. The city is asking all residents who live in a house in Baltimore City to go into their basements, find the water line that's coming into their house or apartment from the city, and identify that material. And so we want to take a little bit of a step back from that and say, okay, we as a collective think that water and health is a really important topic, right? We all drink it, we all need it, we all bathe in it. It is part of our fundamental part of our lives that really everyone needs to understand. And it's so it touches all aspects of our lives. And so it's a key driver for protecting public health. I like to say that our water infrastructure is our public health infrastructure. And so this is also really fundamental when we're talking about environmental justice. We know that our tribal communities, our Black and Brown communities are more vulnerable to having water systems that are in violation of the Safe Drinking Water Act. I could go on and on here, but what I'm gonna just say is we are teaching kids about environmental racism. We're teaching kids about how climate change is going to impact their water infrastructure, and we're talking about practical measures they can take in their lives, right? We want them to feel empowered. And so actually this Baltimore Service Line partnership is the second piece of this curriculum that you'll be teaching kids about, because everyone needs to go home and do this. And so you can really empower these kids to become change makers in their communities, share this information with their adults, and really do an important public health action for their families and for their communities by identifying this lead service line and submitting these self-reporting online surveys. So we're educating and we're empowering, and we're hoping that people will really engage in a tangible way in this topic. And yeah, that's our water and health curriculum.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Natalie. It's incredibly important work that you're doing, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the results of the curriculum, seeing how it's implemented, and I know some of our participants here are interested as well. So thank you. We're going to move next to talk a little bit about the mental health and wellness portion as well. So that's another option that we offer. And Catherine, feel free to hop in.
Absolutely. So just like Natalie said, there's a lot of passion around the topics that are impacting our communities, and we want our youth to be informed with the science and also with what they can do with it. It's not just about giving folks knowledge. It's about talking about what you can do with that. And that's really the point of our mental health and wellness curriculum. That curriculum grew out of a lot of what we were doing with the early COVID trainings. And what we were finding was a secondary and tertiary outcome of COVID. There was a lot of isolation. People were becoming more and more aware of the mental health needs of our youth. And so what we want to do is, just like we did with the COVID curriculum, we want to take some of the myths and misinformation and address it head on and talk about the science, what you can recognize, and then what you can do with it. So that these folks are in a growing place of power as they realize what kind of conversations they can have around it. When we develop the curriculum, we have 3 different phases for littles in elementary school, for middle school, and for high school. So when you deliver the curriculum, you're well prepared to talk about the topic. With mental health and illness, things can come up. These conversations, when kids feel like they're in a safe space, they will ask direct questions. So we make sure that you, as the folks who are delivering the curriculum, are prepared, and we also build in a safety net and background piece so that you are not alone. We usually have 2 trainers that are together in the classroom as well. So you're not having to guess, and you're not, if you get asked a difficult question, you have a couple of different ways you can answer it. And then you have a support team as well, because it's not only important that our youth in our community begin to see who they can possibly be through the training, but also through the training, you're learning who you can be and what this does for you as well. So we keep in mind everybody that this is going to serve as we go forward.
Thank you so much, Catherine. That was fantastic. Thank you both. That was an incredible overview of the 2 topics that we're going to be diving a little bit further into this year. So thank you so much. If you have questions about those 2 topics, we will have some space for them at the end, but I am going to hop right into talking about recruitment and the actual process for signing up for this. So how are we handling recruitment? So we are a JHU Source are managing recruiting students as well as applications. If you are interested in learning more about Source, we have our website information here, but our focus is on community engagement, specifically for the schools of public health, nursing, and medicine. However, we are open to undergraduate students who are studying public health, as well as talking to students who are part of Medicine for the Greater Good, which is a part of the Johns Hopkins Bayview Medical Residency Program. So this topic not only includes the professional schools, but also is a little bit more open to the Hopkins family. We specifically, in the application itself, we are wanting to know a little bit more about your interest, about your availability for commitment, about your background in education, specifically for mental health. We are looking for those who have a mental health background. And just as a general understanding, just kind of to understand what you're able to do with your schedule. I know schedules vary for students depending on where you are in your program, and they vary across programs. So everybody's commitment is different. And then in terms of like your experiences, we are trying to get an understanding of who you are and why specifically you're applying for the program that you're applying to. After the application process has closed and we have sorted through them, we will be letting students who are selected know that they've been selected for the program. And after that is when they would get started with the self-paced videos and reviews, which is like a folder just full of information for those who are going to be teaching students. But then there will also be 2 live Zoom sessions that we will be announcing. So that's another thing to consider within your application. Do you have the capacity for additional trainings as well as attending live sessions? We have 2 scheduled. They both be towards the end of the month of October. So if, again, something to consider as we move forward and as you move applications. And then, of course, in terms of resources that we have available for those who apply and are interested, we're managed by the Office of Government, Community, and Economic Partnerships. They have information there. We also have the ability you can reach out to them for more information too. We also have faculty leaders, as a couple of them are in the room right now. If you're interested and need more resources or information about Heat Corps, you can reach out to them. But also, again, if you have questions about the volunteer process and the application process, and as well as the requirements, anything like that, you always can reach out to SOURCE. If you are able to become a part of the project, we have what's on Hopkins Engage, we have what's called Impacts, which is where you'll be recording the work that you've done and the way you've interacted with students. That's something that we'd go a little bit further into, but that's kind of what you'd be interacting with as a Heat Corps volunteer. We have a page there. If you want to look a little bit further into Heat Corps, we can look at some of the impacts. They are on Hopkins Engage, and you can log in now with your ID. But then there's other institutional collaborations that we work with. And so if you are interested in learning more, there's a wide variety of resources that can give you a little bit more background about Heat Corps and the value of what we're doing. Speaking of impact, the trained volunteers have given us a lot of positive feedback. They say that it's a unique opportunity for students to develop their own health education skills, as well as teaching skills, but it also helps with our students who are learning the importance of mental health and about their environmental health and things like that. So you can not only teach others, you would be learning a lot yourself. The training and guidance is incredibly valuable. It looks great on a CV. That's something that you always want to keep in mind. But then there'll be, of course, certificates of appreciation. This is something that is a very valuable resource, and we appreciate your time. So anything that we can do to be of support there, but you'll also receive it's a way to show that you're committed to the community. So our trained students, they help to disseminate really important public health information. You'll play a vital role in educating students at a very important time in their life. And so it's something that not only is beneficial to you, it looks good on paper, but it's also very beneficial to the community as well. And in fact, we have some statements from some volunteers I'm going to share. So one of them says that this has been one of the best volunteering experiences of her career, working with a team of physicians, trainees, and students that care about science communication and are committed to engaging communities has been extremely fulfilling. As an instructor, I've had the opportunity to interact with students from K through 12 and listen to how our teachings have impacted their daily lives. That's just one person. And then another says, every week I'm given the opportunity to educate students and teachers across the nation about how they can be on the front line in their communities. The healthcare professionals, student, and volunteers that are all part of the Heat Corps team have a real passion for creating change agents within the community, especially at a time like this when these change agents are necessary. I'm humbled to be a part of this dedicated team, taking on the task of nurturing healthier communities nationally and globally, one classroom at a time. And then we have a couple of more here. This one person, Grace, says that volunteering as an instructor for the Hopkins Heat Corps program has added a dimension of purpose and gratitude to her life that she could not have anticipated. And also, Edwin says that the comments and questions make him believe that there are an increased sense of commitment to their actions of being responsible members of the community, and says have been a rewarding part of this experience. So lots of people think it's great. A lot of people have good experiences. I really can't think of a single person who said anything negative about their time with us. Natalie and Catherine, again, really very hands-on and engaged with this, will be great with mentorship and support for these programs. And we really do hope that you're interested in learning more and possibly applying. Applications are due Sunday, October 6th. If you have your phone or if you have your device with you, the application is right here at that Qualtrics link. And then, of course, we have heatcorps.jhu.edu if you want to learn more about the program specifically. If you want to send an email to SOURCE to get more details. And then, of course, we have this link that says Heat on CBS, which is like an interview, I believe. So that being said, I want to open the floor up to questions for not only for Natalie and Catherine, but also for the Heat Corps application itself.
While we're waiting for questions to come up, I also wanted to mention that so your Spanish language is especially a plus for us for the water and health curriculum. So if that is something that you have or something you feel comfortable navigating in, we would love your fluency in Spanish also to be at play for our water and health curriculum. We're finding that the translation of those materials from the city are having a great impact on reaching our Latino population.
Thank you for adding that, Natalie. Feel free to hop off mute if you like, but I can also read your question. Do you have to be a student to apply, or can you be an alumni or alumni from another school outside of Hopkins? So you do have to be within the Hopkins family. Is the volunteer work all virtual or is it in person? It's all virtual. And as volunteers, we'll be mostly helping with recruiting and helping with registration. No, you will not. The primary work of a volunteer is to teach. You go through the training, you teach the student. Hopkins and the Source family handles the rest. Thank you, Kim. I hope I answered your question. Can you expand a little more about how we are matched to the kids in classrooms? So that's based on your interest that you indicate in your application. Catherine, can you maybe talk a little bit further about the process afterwards with students how they teach and what the process looks like after the applications are closed?
Sure. So it's basically when you apply, you can apply for one or both to teach one or both curriculum. You have to be trained in both if you choose to teach both, or you can just be trained in one. Then how you're matched with the classrooms are based on your primarily availability, but also if someone chooses not to teach some of the littles, then obviously if all we have are elementary classes that are coming in, then we would match you up with those. Because we have a limited number of curricular products, you don't necessarily do follow-ups with the same children in the same classes over and over again. Keep in mind that when we come into someone's classroom, that is an hour of instruction on a city or county or mandated curriculum that we are helping, but maybe supplanting. So one of the things we found when we first started off, we had 8 to 10 different classes, if you will, that we offered. However, we just teachers could not fit everything in. So we found that having 1 or 2 courses to choose from gave our trainers a way to go in depth and to really know the material before they went out there and delivered it. And it was also the right sized amount for what the schools were telling us that they could allow their students.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I hope that answered your question, Bree. But again, feel free if you guys want to come up off of mute and chat. We're totally here for that. If you guys prefer for me to stop the recording and then we can chat a little bit more, that's also not a problem. Stop the recording. Okay, so yeah, if you guys have further questions, source@jhu.edu would be your best bet in terms of the actual application. If you have questions about the projects that Natalie and Catherine, or any, like maybe if you're interested more in like research or other things like that, please feel free to reach out to them. Well, I'm offering you guys up, but if you are interested, I think feel free to reach out to them. But yes, we're going to go ahead and stop the recording. And I want to say thank you so much to everybody who came by.